Hello Star Wars fans, Mando Mitchy back today, and we're going to be looking at this big project that I got myself into, and it is 3D printing and building the Khetanna Jabba sail barge. I've got it set up here in my living room because it's the only place I really have big enough to display this piece. But what I did was decided against spending $2,000 to $3,000 and buying a HasLab sail barge because I wasn't collecting when this thing came out, and I just can't do it right now. So I went and found a 3D file on Cults. I'm going to share that shortly, and joined a local makerspace. I haven't bought a 3D printer in or anything. I was able to do it all there. I've got all the pieces printed. I'll talk a little bit more about the details on that, but let me show you the website, the 3D file, some pictures of the process, a little bit of video as I started initially, and then we'll come back and look a little more in depth at where I'm at in this process. All right, this is the very beginning. I'm at the Magic's Makerspace, and this is piece number 1, the undercarriage, part 1A, printing the barge as we're building the barge. So here we start. So it begins. See through. Printing that infrastructure. Super excited for this project. All right, looking at the driver's cockpit, I'm really happy the way this turned out. So this was all white 3D PLA filament, and so it's been all painted, weathered, so on and so forth. I made some stickers for the dash, kind of thought, what would an alien want to look at as they're driving, and did that. And you can see over here, that little emoji, that's for when that's the message that comes up when the thing's getting ready to explode. So it's the oh bleep moment. So anyway, so yeah, really happy with that. I did wire in lights. I'm not going to light them up right now. You can see some wires there, but I wanted some cockpit lights. The dash isn't actually going to be lit up, but the cockpit area will be. So yep, pretty cool right there. Pretty happy. Now let's go into the jail cell area. You can see we've got some questionable people in there. Oh man, the guy who single-handedly almost ruined Star Wars, the franchise, Jar Jar Binks. He's in prison where he ought to be. And then you can see we've got the Ithorian skeleton, and he's changed up in decomposition. So really pretty cool. Enjoyed weathering and doing all this. So the jail cell, it's a little bit different than the HasLab. I'm not going to open it right now. I'll do it maybe later in the final video, but it is hinged. The pin slides, so the whole wall doesn't slide like the HasLab. That door actually opens up. So moving to the galley, you can see we've got Graga in here. She's a Tatooine gal, a good, well-known chef. So she's in the galley in the kitchen cooking up, and this really turned out pretty cool. So all the elements of that. So I'll deck it out a little bit more with some the catch of the day and kind of what they're going to be eating as I get closer. This next part, if you're unfamiliar, is the armory. So this is still in the works. You can see I've got the stairs, the armory basket, but on the wall, as I get to building the walls and the bench, there'll be a lot of different stuff going on in here. And then down to Jabba's suite. So just actually glued a bunch of this and put this in the other night. So I'm not finished with Jabba's pillow, but I'm working on that. I got to finish that up. It'll have that communicating piece. You can see the lithograph of Jabba, little family portrait of Jabba and his family. A Gamorrean guard, a commemorative head up there, pewtered statue. Kind of mocked or copied the HasLab a little bit, and then went with some custom colors. But yeah, you can see this turned out really, really cool. So that those posts will actually be for the top deck as I get that on. And yeah, so a little bit more work there. Really happy with how the engines turned out. Man, I weathered those, and I really want to go for a custom but more kind of screen accurate. And man, these really turned out to be really, really cool. And inside I've got LED lights, so it's going to be really, really neat as that's lit up. And I've got the grills that'll fit in there, and then I'm doing some frosted clear paneling on the other side of the grill, so you won't be able to see them. But I'm hoping it'll diffuse the light so it doesn't just look like there's LED lights, but it'll actually look like something like you would see on a ship or starship in Star Wars. So yeah, yep, so it's turning out pretty nice. So this is right around 375 3D printed PLA pieces, and I'll show a little more of those videos and the pictures. And again, I bought it off of Colt's 3D Printing, that website. There were some guys, what I liked about it more than some of the other files that I saw, there were guys that actually made it, and I was able to look at some of their work before I ventured into this. And so I had a little more comfort in that. I've not really ever made anything to this scale. Just started 3D printing recently. Again, don't have my own 3D printer yet, but that's the Barge. And again, I decided I lost hope that I was going to be able to find one that I felt like was of value and that I could afford and could justify in my mind spending. What I'm guessing will probably happen, just because it's my luck, is when I finish this later this winter or early spring, whenever I get around to completing it and I'm happy with it and I get it on display, then Hasbro will announce, hey, we're re-releasing the Sail Barge as a fan channel exclusive for X amount of $100, and it won't be the HasLab, it won't come with the figures and all that, and it'll be this. So then I could have bought it and not had to do this. But I've enjoyed this process immensely. It's been really, really cool. So stay tuned as I document more of the process as I'm creating the Khetanna and that. So next up is I'm right to the point where I'm going to be actually mounting the top deck. I've got that painted and glued together. I am going to put interior lights through the entire thing to be powered up either by a 9-volt battery or a 12-volt converter. So as it's in my display in my office with my other dioramas, I power everything up with that. Or if I've got it out on the road show, showing it off, I can power it up that way as well. So, but yeah, upper deck, the railing, the mast, all the things to finish that off. All the walls and that. So there's a lot to do, a lot to paint. But again, I got it all printed. That was a big hurdle. 375 pieces. So yeah, this is not for somebody who's not committed and doesn't like big projects. So I thought for this winter season, this Christmas season, as I've got a little downtime, I decided to venture in and to give this thing a try. And I love it. It's been so much fun so far for me to do. So if you haven't already, like and subscribe. I've got videos as I've built and created my Hoth diorama, a lot of other things that I've done as I've started my channel this last year. You might go in and look at, I'm just doing Jabba's palace right now. I'm finishing up that diorama. I've really enjoyed that. It's near completion. So if you are watching this, go jump into that playlist if you're interested in Jabba the Hutt, and you might enjoy that part as well. But stay tuned, like and subscribe, check back as we continue to document the process of building the barge. Thanks for watching. God bless. This is Mando Mitchy. I'm signing off.